All right, how'd everybody enjoy that? All right. Some of us are on point, some of us are not. Can I get a big hoorah? I'm feeling it now. So I'm very happy to welcome Christina Pappas. Who knows this lady? So Christina's going to sit with me for a little Q&A. If you guys have questions, what I'm going to do is, Amber, stand up real quick. This is my daughter. She's going to walk around the room. If you have a question for Christina, just stop her. Tell Amber to come over, and then she'll let me know that you guys have a question. But we're going to have a little Q&A together, and we're going to talk a little bit about leadership, because we would all agree that Christina's in a leadership position, right? Hoorah? All right. Welcome. So I want to, a big part of putting this conference together was really getting people to understand that, that leadership plays a big role in our businesses, right? Most of the people out here are real estate agents or mortgage professionals, or you're in the sales industry, right? You're in the sales business. And a lot of them want to grow. A lot of them want to bring more to their business. And that's why they're here. Let's face it. That's why they bought a ticket and they came out and they're hoping to walk away with a few nuggets, right? So first things first, what does leadership mean to you?
It's a great question. Am I on here?
Yeah.
I think first off, you guys have to congratulate yourselves for coming out here.
Right.
All of you are real estate agents, brokers, and you took time away. Anytime you take time away from that customer, that ringing phone or anything, you should feel proud if you're building yourself and you want to take something back to it. So congratulate yourselves, give yourselves a round of applause because that's awesome.
Outstanding.
So it's funny, we talk about leadership a lot in our company, and we talk a lot about what it actually means. And to me, leadership is about having that strategic, clear vision and aligning your people's passions behind it. Because I think as a leader, we have to come together with what is that vision and what is that purpose, but getting the people that stand behind you, finding their passions, and getting you all to push forward together. Because ultimately, as a leader, I can have a really great idea and come forth to you and say, hey guys, I have this really great idea, but if your passion isn't aligned with my idea, there's no way we're gonna collectively get this done.
And so let me ask you that, because I think culture in leadership it's one of the hardest things to really develop, right? And it's something you truly can't force. Culture kind of creates itself, creates a division of its own, or a form of its own, but you kind of have to set the path, right? So you just mentioned something very important. You have, let's say, a team or a company or a business or whatever, and you have a particular culture, and you have a top agent who's killing it, like out there doing, 10 million a month, right? And but doesn't fit within your culture. You keep them or get rid of them?
That's a great question. I think it really depends on why that person's not fitting in the culture. I think leadership is about figuring out what that person's passions are up front and understanding where they're coming from. Everyone in here has a why, and everyone in here has a reason why they're doing something. And if you just heard Sam, a lot of people have different mindsets and different beliefs. And so if they're not fitting in your culture, what is the reason they're not? And can you help hone their skills in the right place? We talk a lot about having the right people on the bus. Are they in the right position, in the right seat on the bus? Maybe that person isn't in the right seat. Maybe there's a better fit for them elsewhere. Maybe they have a passion to lead, to serve, or do something elsewhere. And so I think it's not about, hey, this person is a negative Nancy, or hey, okay, cut them or keep them. It's about what is their passion and how do we best use that within the culture. And if you can't, you can't. But ultimately, I think our best salespeople have a lot of passion. You're going to see one of them up here later today, and I don't think you have great sales without great passion. And so I think it's about finding where that fits within your organization and making that work around you, because ultimately our organization is made up of a bunch of passionate people, and we hope they wake up every day doing 10 million a month.
So I want everybody out there to realize that this was very much a trick question. And, it exemplifies the leadership ability that Christina has, because most people who don't have that type of leadership ability will be quick to say, get rid of them or keep them because they make money, right?
Right.
And what Christina basically said was, put them in a position where they fit within the culture.
Right.
Right?
It's when we hire our managers and any team leaders, we put them through a psychology test. We want to understand what type of person they are. We also give them the DISC test. So we want to understand how people want to be spoken to. We want to understand where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, because I think on the outside, all of us as agents and leaders try to be these extroverted people with big drives, but really, what's the best way to coach? What's the best way to understand? And so we have to seek to understand that person first before we can lead them.
And so in a leadership position, for some of you that are in sales and you're not really thinking of a leadership position at this moment, please understand that it's the same exact thing for you, right? So they just talked, or Christina just talked about the DISC profile, which we also do at our company. And it allows us the opportunity to learn how to coach the person that's working with us and how to properly put them in the best position to succeed. And for those of you that are in sales, if you truly understand this platform, if you truly understand this particular psychology, then you'll understand your clients better.
Right. Well, first, if I don't understand who I am and how I want to be spoken to or why something sets me off, then I can't help anybody.
Right.
And then second, once I understand what type of profile I am, then I can see it amongst my customers, I can see it amongst my clients and my agents and know, hey, it looks like this person might be more of an I or a C. I need to bring some more numbers to the table, or this is a driver. They're going to cut me off no matter what, so I need to bring forth the right decision, the right answer pretty quickly. Right. And so in order to help develop people, you have to first, I think, truly understand yourself. And so even if you are an agent, a single person agent, ultimately you have a team. In any single deal, do you ever work with just one person? No. We work with another agent, a customer, a mortgage lender, all of the people on the mortgage side, and I think in order to really put that deal together, you have to understand, and you have to be a leader in that sense throughout that entire process.
Right, which is, it's an interesting thing, because we talked about maybe you're not looking to be in a leadership position right now and you're in sales, but the truth is that you're leading that transaction.
Right.
You're the focal point, you're the centerpiece that everyone is coming to with everything, and you have to relay the information in all different directions.
You're leading that charge to get my buyer who wants to buy to the seller who wants to sell. So ultimately, I'm the leader in that situation. We love the book, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And even if you don't have a team, I highly recommend it, because you are working within a team, like I mentioned, all day long. And the first thing that we talk about is, it talks about is first you have to have trust.
Right.
So you get into a relationship or something where there's no trust, you're never going to get to the second one.
Right.
And then the second one is you have to kind of have that conflict, so that that conflict and that engagement in each other. So then once we have that conflict, which tends to be what? The negotiating part.
Right.
Right? We have that conflict. No, my seller wants this, my buyer wants this, or whatever. You can engage each other and come to some sort of agreement, right? And then from there, you can set your goals and ultimately then have your results.
What would you say one of the biggest things that a team looks for from their leader?
I think a team looks for guidance and assurance. I think when somebody is making a decision and when our managers want to do something, we focus on our people in their strengths and not on their weaknesses. We say let their passions, let their strengths fly, put their weaknesses aside, delegate the weaknesses and focus on your strengths. And I think anybody underneath us are looking for somebody who is going to ensure and push them towards that goal and say, you know what? You have me behind you 100%. No matter what, this is your passion, this is your dream, we're going to help you get there.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions out there, Amber? No? No one has any questions? Awesome, we'll keep going. So in a leadership position at your company, right, you have multiple leaders, and everyone has a different leadership style, right? You had mentioned the last time we talked to your grandfather, who gave you a lot of advice on the leadership side. How do you influence the other leaders inside of your company?
I think influence is a really big word.
It's a heavy word, right? But okay, so let's face it, like, you're a Pappas, right? At Kai's.
Right.
So how are you influencing, or how do you influence the other leaders that are within your offices?
I think the first thing, and it goes back to this 5 dysfunctions, I think you build trust. And I think ultimately I came into a 4th generation company, if you will, but my grandfather was our chairman, my father's our president, and I came in as a realtor. And I didn't come in with anything going, hey, everybody, because my father's our CEO, I'm gonna run your company. It's, hey, I'm a realtor, I'm gonna get down to the grind, I'm gonna work off commission, I'm gonna understand it. And I'm gonna build trust and peer-to-peer trust as I go through it. And I think you have to build that trust. You have to build that rapport. If people don't trust you, they're not gonna follow you anywhere. And so if they don't believe that you're in it for them, and they don't believe that if they for a second think David's out for himself or Christina's out for herself and everything she does is, it's over.
They won't follow you.
And so I think that's how you influence, is you build that trust and you say, what is your passion? What is your thing? And it's not about us ultimately.
So you would say coming from contribution is a really big thing.
It's really big.
For leadership. And
then I think having that passion and that ability to have conflict. Anyone in our managers meetings can tell you there's quite a bit of conflict in our managers meetings because we like to vet everything out, and you have to have let the collective wisdom come to the right decision.
Right.
And so having that conflict and being able to speak our mind and letting other people speak your mind without saying, oh, that's stupid, or yeah we've been there, done that, and so, having that wisdom come together.
It's funny, so I spent 9 years in the Marine Corps, and when I left the Marine Corps, one of the hardest things for me to do was lead civilians, which was, it was crazy. So people were like, dude, you just spent 9 years in the Marine Corps, all you've learned is leadership for the last decade, right? And then I came out to, I call it the real world, right? And once I stepped out, I had a very difficult time leading civilians because it was different. And how you just mentioned is something that took me years to learn. And just because you weren't in the military, it's something that really does take time to learn. And that is being able to handle the conflicts that you have within your business, right? Being able to figure out all the personalities. In the military, it didn't matter who had what personality. Like, you were told to do something, you did it. And you did it with the true belief. It was a true belief that what you were doing was a small piece of a very large puzzle, and it needed to be done so that you wouldn't be the kink in the chain, right? And so, but that's a belief that's ingrained in someone, right?
But you can build that belief in a company. And I think that's where your true leadership comes in, is that every person truly believes they're giving to the greater good.
Right.
And that they are that missing link. And I think that, but that's much harder because they don't have to just follow rules. They can do whatever they want. They're independent contractors.
So that was the point. It was very difficult to learn that type of leadership. So once I was able to curtail my brain, rewire myself to understand that everyone has a different personality and everyone is dealt with in a very different way, and there are different ways to coach different people, then all of that started to come together. All of that culture came together. All of that started working out. There was a cohesiveness, right? And like you said, whatever you're building, whoever works within whatever you're building has to truly believe in what you're doing. Right.
And they have to trust you. I mean, you mentioned my grandfather, and any of our managers who've been around to see how my grandfather managed compared to my father, they're two very different people. My grandfather was a conflict-driven, loved to kind of get in your face and really kind of hoorah you around, and and he did. And then you had my father, who didn't love conflict as much, and he wanted to be able to build his people up from behind and really help build those relationships and things. And both those have created a ton of trust. And so it's not one size fits all, and it's not that you have to do it one way.
There is no perfect way.
But it's what's true and authentic to you.
Right.
And I think we try sometimes to be this picture. I see this person on stage and I want to be like them, so I'm going to talk like them and speak like them. And the second that
it's not you,
it's not genuine.
I think one of the biggest parts or pieces to trying to become a leader of anything is to know who you truly are, right? And Lori, who you guys will hear from in a little bit, her and I, we had that conversation as well. Knowing yourself, knowing who you want to be, right?
Right.
I came out of the military and I wore camouflage uniforms all the time. It was super, super comfortable, right? And then I went into wearing suits and stuff like that, and I felt out of the box.
Right.
Didn't feel like myself, which is why very rarely will you ever see me wear a tie. I know it looks great, but I'm gonna be like this the whole time, trying to look around the room like I won't even know how to turn my neck, right? It's just not me. And so I think, and that's just such a tiny piece, right? Just being authentic to yourself, knowing who you are, and then developing yourself first, right? Develop yourself before you go and try to develop other people, okay? And then once you're able to do that, you can create something amazing, right?
And my father says he's a sponge, and just a sponge for knowledge. So I applaud you guys for being here today, because the more you take in and the more you can, and you never stop learning. This is the greatest thing about our industry, is it's constantly changing, and no 2 days are ever going to be the same. Even if you've been in this 40 years or 1 year, you know that you've never had 2 days the same, and you have to continue to learn to grow so that then you can help others grow and see their true passions.
Right.
And then you have to have that strategic vision, that strategic clarity that says this is where we want to go, and able to build the buy-in behind it. it.
I read something once that said a business is not built by a leader, a business is built by the people in the business that the leader is running.
And I think we've said that. I said that on that Facebook Live. We always say it's not our company. It's your
yours.
company.
Yep.
And so when a manager wants to make a decision, when an associate wants to make a decision, hey, this is your company.
Right.
You have to own it too, because ultimately, if you don't believe you're a key part to this, then there's no reason to have
There's no
the
success
collective.
without the team.
Correct.
There really isn't. And I don't think any successful person in the world has done it by themselves, right? There's no one out there that does it by
Some will
themselves.
say they
There's a
did,
full
but-
team. Yeah. Well, and then they have a particular type of leadership style. Well, I want to thank you. Everybody, please give Christina a round of applause. Thank you very much for doing this with me.
Always.
Okay?
Anytime.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys. Thank you.
What happened? Oh, you have a question. All right, go. Sorry. One question.
All right.
How important is training,
Is training
especially as it relates to staff turnover?
as it relates to
especially
staff
as
turnover?
Staff turnover. So when we bring the short answer is incredibly important. And training isn't just a training on my skill set of what I have to do every day, plug in my admin numbers and all of that. Training is about building that culture and helping them understand the culture. So when we bring in an admin, it's not taking them to one office and saying, okay, you sit here, here's the computer. It's understanding truly what the big culture is and what the big picture is. So when we do admin trainings, we do them regionally. We want you to meet your counterparts. We want to meet other people in the company and help you understand what our culture is first, so then we can help train on your skill set, because it's never about skill set, and you can train anybody to do that. It's about having them understand and buy into your culture, and then again, being a servant leader and understanding we are there to help them grow. So you might start off as an admin, but what are your visions, your hopes, and your dreams, and how can we make sure that we get you there? My grandfather used to say, if you leave the Kai's company and you haven't grown vertically or horizontally, we have failed you. And that ultimately is our goal for every person that comes in, is that we will help you grow. And if you don't believe that when you bring somebody on, you don't train them to believe that, ultimately you're failing them.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hurrah, everybody. All right. So